Coming up, we stayed at Loews Royal Pacific Resort, and we're going to tell you what was great and what was not so great. Live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida, this is the Universal Edition of the Diz Unplugged. This is episode 91 of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. The Diz Unplugged Universal Edition is brought to you by Dreams Unlimited Travel, experts at helping you plan the perfect universal vacation. Visit them on the web at www.dreamsunlimitedtravel.com. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. I, of course, am your host, Craig Williams, and today I am joined by...
Oh, hey.
Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
Hello.
I told you were going to have to crouch.
You weren't wrong, Rhino. You weren't wrong.
And then engineer, controller, associate producer on the back, Oliver Green.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. How we doing today, guys?
Good.
Not bad.
We haven't seen
Well,
each
I
other
should say.
until right now when we started this. So.
Yeah, we have not been together for several hours before this.
Yes, of course. So, wow. Well, we have quite the episode to bring to you today. We are going to talk about our... I guess it isn't anymore so recent. It was in May, right? That was in May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a while ago.
It was in May.
It was when I first started.
It was at the end of May.
We had come back from Disneyland, right?
Yeah, we had been back for Disneyland for a couple weeks. Either way, we have been busy. So we've been... I don't want to say we've been putting it off. We just wanted to be able to give this the attention that it deserved. And that is our opinion on our stay at Royal Pacific.
And thank you for joining us for this episode. And we will see you.
We will see you again next week. No, of course, we didn't have an episode last week. So for anyone wondering where last week's show was, I saw a great thread on the boards where they were having fun with it, asking where last week's show was. It was the normals. They knew it was canceled.
The normies.
It was a fun one. So go back and look at that. But yeah.
Why did we cancel last week?
I was not in town.
Oh, that's right.
I was
on vacation.
I was in California checking out
Universal
the
Hollywood.
world. I did go to Universal Hollywood, and hopefully we'll talk about that in a couple weeks. That's where I wanted to kind of start this show off by saying I know a lot of news has happened over the past week or so since we haven't done a show. We had the kind of the unveiling of a new hotel, the Six Hotel, that happened. We had Secret Life of Pets being added to crap all over property because that comes out as we're recording this. It comes out technically tonight,
just in
a few hours.
That crap everywhere.
Yes.
So is their crap everywhere.
So their crap is being spread all around Universal. And then also just right before we started this, within half an hour ago, they announced the newest house for Halloween Horror Nights, a sequel house.
Yeah.
Halloween 2 will be coming.
That's exciting.
And I'm very excited for
Halloween was my favorite house here and my favorite house in Hollywood, so I'm just excited they're revisiting that franchise again. But in a new way.
Yes, I'm very excited for it, and I can't wait to talk all about that and a little bit of information from my trip out to Hollywood, just because we have to throw it in every time. However, we are actually not going to cover any of that today. I know it's shocking. We try to stay relevant to what's upcoming. I mean, all this information, you guys should already know it by this point. You're always tied into what's happening.
The social mediaings.
We'll give you all of our full opinions on it probably in, 3 weeks from now, because this week, of course, we have Royal Pacific. Next week, we are going to talk about our dining at Royal Pacific, an in-depth look at all of it, because we ate a lot of food while we were there, to the point that we were constantly sick from how much we were eating. So
the people in the capital of the Hunger Games who were just purging every night.
Exactly. Well, Oliver, mostly.
Yeah.
He didn't understand. That was his first real experience with how the Diz team eats whenever they're off and around.
Can I just say as well, since I've started working here, I've put on 10 pounds.
Yeah, well,
that's impressive, right?
Said the skinniest person that works here, right?
Yeah. Well, We'll wait a little while longer for that. And then the week after that, technically next week, as soon as we finish our show on dining at Royal Pacific, we are going to leave straight here and go straight over to Sapphire Falls because it opens next Thursday, and we will be spending, I believe, 3 nights over there to cover everything that happens. 3 nights, 4 days, kind of right around that area, I believe. And yeah, so we'll be talking about that then the following week, and then we'll do a July recap of all the stuff that we just haven't had time to really discuss.
So someday you'll get the news for 2016 toward the end of the year.
It's not necessarily news anymore at that point. It's just our feelings.
Conversation topics.
Because we never have the chance to digest this stuff and really think about it and talk. A lot of times Universal announces stuff like an hour before we go out.
I think
and that's whenever we talk about
like
it.
Like catfishing us.
Yeah.
That's not the right word, but
that's
you know
not
what I mean. Same idea.
So I am very excited to talk about all that stuff, especially the Halloween 2 house. Very, very pumped. It was so happy whenever we heard that news, but I'm more excited about Royal Pacific Resort because I'm told that that's how it needs to be. I'm joking. But we are going to go ahead and get started on that, shall we?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I'm cool.
So last year we also talked about Royal Pacific Resort. What?
It was left on me for.
It was left on you.
It was, yeah. I was getting a video ready, maybe.
That's fine.
That's something that's coming. So.
Exactly. So last year, of course, we did our Universal Land and Sea, and you heard us talk all about Royal Pacific. So for anyone who maybe wasn't with us last year, who missed out on it, missed out on the photos, videos, everything we've shown, we are going to start this one off by showing just a short little video that Oliver put together to kind of show off some of the highlights of the hotel, some of the things we saw. So we are going to go ahead and cut to that. And if you want to watch it later, youtube.com/WDWinfo. Thank you, Oliver. That was a great look at the hotel.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure. It really was.
That your first even though we're seeing it now, wasn't that the first video you started working on, or no?
It wasn't, no. Through the magic of the way we do things here, I was actually at Royal Pacific the other day getting those shots. So
Okay, never
that
mind.
was a more recent
Okay.
one. But
Forget it. I was going to give you a compliment, and I knew I shouldn't have.
Oh, it's if you want to, there's some
No,
videos.
I'm done.
There's some videos later on coming that were some of the first I ever edited for the Diz that you're
Yes.
going to see. So
Great, so it can only go down from here, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Whenever, I mean, this has nothing to do with the resort, but it was just funny because we were at Kong, and that's whenever we discovered that Oliver was shooting everything in PAL. So that's
He refuses to leave that British.
just putting it out there, you've got to remember I was trained. I've got a degree in media, I promise, and I was trained to shoot everything in PAL for so long. I know I was meant to do it in another format, but when
He got that degree from Fox News.
It's that muscle. Funny. It's that muscle memory, So it's hard to break old
Also,
habits.
in Oliver's defense, he and I have I want to call them off-market cameras. So they're set. I believe they were purchased in China. So they're
Japan,
set
I think.
Is
It's
it Japan?
Japan, and I think
Japan?
Japan's in PAL as well. So I think that by default they were in PAL, so that's probably why it happened. It's not that they're off market, that's just where they shipped from.
okay.
So.
Anyway,
Then we've
sorry.
gone far too long on all of this. We like our equipment. That's all we really have to say about it. And we try to make the best out of everything we do for you guys. So we hope you all enjoy it.
Thanks for saving us there, Craig.
Awesome. So let's talk about Royal Pacific Resort. We've mentioned it many times. It goes back and forth. I know sometimes we say good things about it, sometimes not so good things about it. So here's where we're going to really break it down to you, give you the hits and misses and our overall thoughts on it. But what does Royal Pacific really make up? Well, it's that Southeast Asian hotel. It always gets compared to the Polynesian and saying, oh, it's like Universal's answer to the Polynesian. But I hate that it gets this moniker because
Polynesian's like straight up Hawaii, right? Hawaii, Samoa,
it's
like
some
that
of the
kind of a culture.
some similar also Pacific islands, but Polynesian chooses to really focus on for me the tiki culture of it. We really want to have that fun side to it where you see tiki stuff all around. It's nice dark woods with bright colors popping on it. This is, and I don't want to say it in a bad way because it's not. This is what I would expect if I was going to
Vietnam.
Kind of, yeah. In that
I
way.
know when you say Vietnam, and it because of everything, it sounds semi oh, you're being but seriously, like any movie I've seen with Vietnam scenes, like Forrest Gump or anything like that, it reminds me of the grassy fields and you've got the
more jungle.
So you said tiki is Polynesian, whereas I feel like Scorpion Bowl is what describes the Royal Pacific.
The way I would say it is, I feel that the Polynesian is almost like, and again, I've never been to Hawaii or the Polynesian at all, so I can't say the place, not the resort. So I can't say if it's accurate or not. But I feel like the Polynesian is like a caricature of what Hawaii would be like,
bright,
whereas Royal
colourful,
Pacific,
like
being hit over the head with a rainbow,
Yeah.
Whereas Royal Pacific's more like Royal Pacific's more like it's like an actual take of it. So that's my 2
That's
cents.
a nice way to put it.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually a perfect way to put it. It really does solidify how, obviously nothing's ever going to be 100% authentic. There's always going to be a unique twist and spin on it, and I would say that they went 2 different ways with both hotels. Although they do get compared often, and by us at times, they really shouldn't. It's just they're 2 separate standalone hotels, and 2 different price points, 2 different freaking vacation resorts in Orlando, Florida. So there's a lot to split up. Getting into the kind of the details of Royal Pacific, there are 1,000 different rooms on property, including just your standard rooms. You have deluxe rooms, king deluxe, suites, including the Jurassic Park kids suites, which we may or may not finally have gotten a chance to stay in them.
That's all I have to say about that right now.
Oh, I know. Of course, whenever we knew that you were gonna we are going to get a chance to be in those, you decide to stay in the room. I mean,
Yeah.
stay in the room, not stain the room.
Stay in the room.
That would be completely different things. But no, they have a lot of different rooms options. And we will get to our opinions on the room just very shortly from now. But I want to go over just like the price point with this. So this is in what will now be kind of the middle of the price structure at Universal. So we have Portofino, which of course is the flagship resort of the hotels at Universal Orlando. And then from there you have Hard Rock Hotel. And then after that you have Royal Pacific. And then after that we are going to have Sapphire Falls whenever that opens. And gosh, just a week from now, which is crazy. Scary to think that.
It looks good. It looks, because you can see it when you're on the highway.
You can see it when you're on the highway, and you can also see it whenever you are over at Royal Pacific. Yeah, you have, if you're back on the beach looking out, you have a beautiful looking view right at it. So
for those of you that are wondering what that view looks like, you can head over to the Universal, the Diz Unplugged Universal Facebook page, and I snapped a photo of exactly what you're talking about just a few days ago, and it's on there.
Oh, did you?
I certainly did. I tried not to neglect it whilst you were away in California.
Who gave you the login information?
Who gave it to you?
I'm your captain now.
Why do we always go to that?
I don't know.
Just such a random, obscure movie that doesn't even really matter anymore. But Zen, of course, coming in. Zen, of course, coming in at the bottom. We're gonna have your Cabana Bay Beach Resort. So it kind of falls right in the middle right now. They're restructuring the whole naming process of these resorts. So Royal Pacific is in the preferred on-site category, as well as Sapphire Falls. The premier is going to be Hard Rock and Portofino, and then your prime value is still Cabana Bay Beach Resort. And then just like based on, I pulled up the vacation packagings for Halloween Horror Nights because that's all that's on my mind right now. To do like one of their packages right now, the room prices start at like $189 at Cabana Bay, $215 at Sapphire Falls and Royal Pacific, and then $285 for the premier hotels. So that gives you an idea. Usually whenever I see like packages for Royal Pacific, it's usually around $239 a night for a hotel there. And of course, if you don't have a package, get a standalone room, a little less money based on time of year. So you just never know. But with it being a preferred on-site hotel, it has, well, the original preferred on-site hotel, it does have one important perk that Sapphire Falls won't have, and that, of course, still is the free Universal Express. So in this overall episode, if we are ever talking about what is a hit or miss of staying at this resort, if we said free Express, that's a no-brainer.
It's a hit.
It's a hit.
Yeah.
It's a hit for sure. But that goes without being said. Who doesn't love free Express? I don't know. I really just don't. So let us get into the actual resort itself. Shall we?
Let's get on in there.
Okay, so how this is going to work, I don't remember if I've said it before now, but we are going to go through different categories, similar to... putting on my Russian accent there. We're going through categories. We're going to go through theming, the service, rooms, pool, recreation, dining, not in-depth in dining, and then our overall thoughts on the location, and then our final thoughts on the resort. We'll be going through one at a time, saying whether or not we each individually thinks it is a hit or a miss. So let's start with the theming itself. As we described before, the... Royal Pacific Resort has the Southeast Asian feel to it. A lot of unique characteristics to it. Very woody, but still a lot of interesting whites all around. I love, as we're showing a picture of now, there's the elephant kind of like bathing pool that's just in the middle of the hotel after you walk in. It's surrounding.
I have a weird reaction every time I come in here, but it's very like, I feel like we're literally walking into the movie South Pacific.
Yeah.
always slightly like expect somebody to walk out singing like "Wash that man right out of my hair" somewhere.
Oh, that's I walk in and it's like instantly I'm slapped with like Bali High.
Yeah, that's even better. Tally ho. There's the singing for everybody.
It is. I will go ahead and start this off. For me, this theming personally around the entire resort, I think it is a hit. I absolutely, I love this whole feel, this whole atmosphere. I am a tiki person myself, so I do love that characterization of kind of Hawaiian Pacific culture. But this to me is almost like I think of over at Disney Wilderness Lodge. But then if you were going to do like a Southeast Asian version of Wilderness Lodge, this to me kind of like that same look and feel that it would have. It's just that authentic, as close as you can get to actual putting you into a 4-star hotel in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I've never been.
I don't know either. Yeah.
So for me,
maybe I'll have a baby from there someday.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know your prerogative.
Like Lily from Modern Family.
Yeah. That wouldn't be bad. You can make do with it.
With
so
Lily, yeah.
I'm calling it a hit. Rhino, what do you think about this theming? Hit or miss?
I think it's a hit for me. I like that. It's, we keep saying it's like a moderate, or I'm sorry, preferred. Is that the word?
Preferred. Yes.
It feels honestly premier to me.
Yeah.
Like when just from the entrance and the initial impressions you get as you come up to the hotel. I don't feel like I feel like it's right up there at the top. Like I get that fancy feeling when I walk in. And so I would say I'd say it's a hit for me, especially that lobby area. I really like you said, with the elephants and yeah.
I mean, it really was never as grand as Hard Rock or Portofino, but before they did this whole restructuring, it was still considered their premier resort. I mean, that's all they had back then.
See, the thing is with like with Hard Rock or Portofino, they have these really grand entrances. So you come into the Portofino and you like they make you see a lake with the boats in it with the what's the word for that area with the water with the boats land?
The lagoon?
No, there's a word for it. Like where the boats come up and they put the rope on and the thing. I forgot.
The dock?
The dock?
No. Forget it. Pete was using the word a lot. But anyway, the maybe it is the port, But regardless, big entrance.
I also wasn't
entrance.
Listening to you. So.
And like, what would you call that area at the hotel? The beach part where that restaurant is you like, and like there's the Starbucks.
The bay.
The thing, no.
At Portofino Bay?
Yeah.
That's the piazza.
The piazza is the word
But that's
I'm
Italian,
looking for.
isn't it?
The hotel is Italian themed.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Bay Area at Royal Pacific.
That's what I was thinking.
No,
too.
I was talking about Portofino has this grand entrance where you look at the piazza, and that's what I was trying to.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to
you
say.
lost us.
So anyway, and then at Hard Rock, when you enter Hard Rock, it's this huge lawn that like kind of goes up to this Spanish style hotel.
I see where you're going.
Yeah,
now.
And then when you go to Royal Pacific, it's like kind of just a road that goes up to it. However, with the theming with the bushes and the agriculture there, it feels like you've waded through the like not marsh, the reeds to kind of get up to this hotel because they're all kind of like that type of plants and stuff. So for me it still fits in just as well with those two. That's what I'm trying to say. The entrance maybe doesn't seem as grand, but for me I was like, well, it was like kind of hidden,
I got you. I got you. Oliver, hit or miss on the theming?
Complete hit. I was going to make the exact same point Rhino was, but just a lot quicker.
Shut your mouth.
There's all the other resorts, you can see them. There's there's a place you could stand, for example, and take a photo of the resort. There really isn't here because it's almost like built into a valley because you would go across a bridge to get into the main building area, and you can see just how deep down it's built into the ground. Not to say it's dark, it's a valley, so it lets the light in. So there's no grand entrance to it. You discover it by yourself when you walk along the bridge and you walk in there. It feels like discovery when you first go in there. It's not like oh wow, look at that,
Yeah.
So I think they were spot on right there. And again, I don't want to do this too often, but comparing it to the Polynesian, it's a completely different feel. They've done that kind of theming just a lot better, more accurate, I would say, than the Polynesian's done it.
Yeah, you're going to hear us say it over and over again, where it's obviously going to be compared to it, and we apologize. It is the closest comparison that we can make. I absolutely adore the Polynesian. It's in my top favorites over at Disney, and I love it. I also love this resort for many reasons too, but they are completely separate, and you have to turn that off. If someone goes in here thinking it's going to be the Polynesian and they show up and they see this, they're going to be, I don't want to say wildly disappointed, but I would say probably mildly disappointed.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's fighting that I don't know the word for it, not that theming, but that impression. It's got a battle against that.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Stereotype. That's stereotype.
Yeah, stereotype, and which is unfortunate because I find this hotel, like you said, it's very comfortable.
Yeah.
It's a very nice hotel, and I would never steer anyone away from it.
I agree. So the next thing that I want to talk about, of course, is the service. You walk into this hotel like the other hotels at Universal, and you're almost, you have to go out of your way really to avoid people as well as the team members that are working there. But in this case, if you're coming in to check in, you're probably going to want to go straight to the check-in desk. That's where you're more likely to be able to actually get your hotel room. And I mean, I've heard
You can just start knocking on doors to find the empty rooms.
That's usually what I do. I keep pressing down on the handles until I can find a room that works for me.
They have a photo of Craig at the main lobby. Like, if you see this man, please alert security.
Yeah, it takes me a long time to find a room. I am weird like that, though. But so your first encounter with the service at the hotel is going to come with your front desk, and then it's just going to continue on from there and there. So I want to talk about the service itself. Do you think that while we were there, we encountered service that we would consider a hit or a miss? I'm going to start with you, Rhino.
In the lobby?
All throughout the entire resort.
I would say it was a hit. I don't have any necessarily like a standout, great moment with great service there, but I also don't have any moments where I was like, oh man, that person's a jerk, or because I'm very much like, after working at Disney for so long, when people are not staying within their theme, and I get it, we all have bad days, but at the same time, like, it's not that hard to say please and thank you to people. So like, a lot of that goes a long way with me. I don't really have any memories necessarily of anybody being terrible either.
Good.
So I'd say a hit.
Oliver?
I was actually here during the check-in process because I believe you two came a bit later on, so I actually got to see what that was like at the desk. Now, when Pete checked in for all the rooms, he actually had quite a few changes going on, and the guy behind the desk knew what he was doing. Like, he had it down. He was spot on with service. He listened to exactly what Pete had to say. He worked new stuff out for us. He was an epitome of what a hotel employee should be. And he was English too. He's from Wolverhampton.
Yes.
But he was only there. He let on as well that he was on a program and he'd only been there for just a few weeks. And you wouldn't have believed it if he didn't tell you the way he knew how to work that system, and not only that, but the way he interacted with you, the way he managed to mix it together. So he wasn't completely looking at the screen. He had that customer service part going on, as well as being able to know his stuff behind the scenes. It tied together seamlessly. He was spot on. He was really, really good. I was very impressed.
On that note, you actually did remind me. I did have interactions with the front desk people because I needed to print an extra key. Because we only had like one key, and there were three of us were like going back and forth in the room, and the girl was like super, super friendly, chatting with me the whole time. Like, she had my backpack on. She thought I was leaving at first, but then she was like, so I will say, like, up the front desk, their service was outstanding for me.
I was going to say, the one other time I can recall having an interaction with some of the staff there was when Rhino and I went to the bar at one point, and they were very, very helpful. The barman knew exactly what he was doing, and the person that was serving us also was very polite. She actually went out of her way to make sure we saved some money by letting us know all the different things they had going on. So again, I was very impressed. So.
Yeah, I'm a little biased because one of my very good friends she works at least at the concierge desk there, so I can't really fairly say, because of course in that essence I would have to say of course they're a hit. But overall, I don't think we encountered anyone bad on this one. The last time around that I stayed here last year, and we were kind of around, I felt like we we were littered with not terrible staff, but just not great. The one thing that always comes into mind is whenever we are out at the pool bar and we waited for 40 minutes. I don't know. In my head, it's now like up to 3 hours. So we were sitting out there waiting, and we could never get anyone to come and just bring us our bill. And we were considering getting up and just walking out. And it seemed like there was a lot of moments like that whenever we stayed there last. So this time compared, it was very enjoyable. I showed up at the end of the check-in procedure, and it was very, very smooth, very flawless. And then part of it too is whenever you go through that check-in procedure and someone is so thorough like that, we really didn't need that much beyond that day. I didn't have any problems with the housekeeping. They brought fresh stuff every day that I needed it, and everyone was friendly, always had a smile on their face. So I have to give the service and the friendliness of their service as well a hit.
Yeah.
Yes.
3 hits.
3 hits. So right now we are abusing this hotel with hits. That's a joke. Don't take it personally. But this next category, I think, is where we might get some a little bit of tension in there, and that is talking about the rooms. We got to experience 3 different types of rooms on this trip. As I said before, we got to do a standard room with I think I had a pool view or a water view. I don't remember at this point.
Water view.
We had a water view.
Well, that's what it was, a view of the pool, but the way they market it is as
you could still see it as the water view. Yeah, okay. The other ones, you would just be like looking at trees. Then we had a king suite, which comprised of a king bed and a sitting area. Yeah, I'm kicking you.
He keeps kicking
Deal
me.
with it. Got that swing leg going on.
Kicking me.
And then we also did the Jurassic Park kids suite, which comprised of a parents' room as well as a kids' room that's themed to Jurassic Park. And we got to do all 3 of them, and they were all recently renovated to their new style of rooms that they are using. So I'm going to start off with our standard water view room that we had, and Oliver put together a little bit of a snippet video looking at each of the rooms. So we're going to start off by showing that for you here. Yep. So that
beautiful
was
iron, beautiful sink there, Oliver. Well done.
Just great.
It was
just
informational.
No, it's definitely more detailed room overviews than we've ever done in the past. So that will continue for the rest that we do, because Oliver actually has the patience to do that crap. Whereas I go in and I'm just like, get me in and out as quick as possible.
Corner, go.
Corner, go. Two details. Let's get out of here.
It's true. You stress me out when I'm trying to take video.
I'm an in and out kind of guy, and I'm not just talking about the burger.
Oh, I was gonna say it. You said it. Okay.
So, how do we feel about these rooms? I'm going to start with you this time, Oliver. Standard view.
Let me start with the view. The view was great. You could actually see the water. You could see the pool. It was a very, very beautiful view. Now let's move on to the room. I've got mixed feelings. I didn't hate it. I just don't think it was very Polynesian. That's all I would say. It wasn't the worst room I'd ever stayed in. It just didn't really hit the mark. There's nothing about it that screamed Polynesian, you know?
Well, yeah, because
They
it's
left the
not
Polynesian
the
woman
Polynesian.
out screaming.
No, I meant that theming. So there's nothing about it that screamed Hawaii or South Pacific. Sorry, yeah. So
You would consider this room a miss.
it depends what you're looking for, because the rooms aren't ugly. They're very pretty rooms. They were very clean. They had all the amenities in there that you'd want. They just didn't seem to completely fit the theme of the hotel. Because if you look at what's going on in the lobby with the dark woods, everything else that's going on there, like they have like the rock statues,
Yeah.
the elephants, and then you look at the room and it's like it's not quite the same, you know.
So, what are you? Is it a hit
I'm not-
or is it
I'm
a miss?
confused.
It's a miss for me.
Okay, that's fine.
Ooh.
That's fine. Pete mentioned in housekeeping you weren't here, so over at the housekeeping on our Diz Unplugged show, because he wasn't able to be here today, he's taking his mother to the doctors right now, so that's why he's not here helping chime in, because he was with us for all of this. He absolutely. And this goes for all the rooms we saw there. He hates the style in every way, shape, or form. I can't remember the exact terminology he used for
Boutique
it.
New York hotel.
It's like you were taking notes, right?
No,
That was very
the
impressive.
other.
He said it 17 times. That's how I know.
Oh.
But I don't know what the other. Oh, do you mean Leather Daddy Polynesian Adventure? Because that's
Yes,
that's
that
what I
was that
said.
one.
That Pete
Oh.
didn't say that. I said that.
That was
He
a
said something else too.
I walked in. There's leather straps everywhere. So I said, "God, this room looks like it was designed for a film called Leather Daddy's Polynesian Adventure."
He said something about rehab.
I don't recall that one.
Oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
it might
yeah,
have just
yeah.
been a comment saying like, "I've been to rehab
I've been to
facilities
reef with better.
more."
Yeah.
I've been to rehab facilities that have more character or personality, something along those lines. Regardless, yeah, he absolutely hated them. Rhino, I'm going to throw it to you first before I give my thoughts on it.
I don't want to speak too much about this room because I'm not even 100% sure I even went in this room the entire trip.
You did go in this room.
You did.
I know
I
because
was in the other two.
you also went in this room because you literally go into every room right before we shoot it and you sit on the bed.
on the bed.
did
I
sit on the
remember
bed.
that.
every
I
time.
did, yeah. It's an accident. I got to sit down. I got to feel the bed with my butt first.
So-
but I would say I don't. It's like what Oliver said. It depends what you're looking for, and but for me, I like those boutique New York hotels. So for me, I enjoyed the room. I would say it was a hit. I understand what you're saying, Oliver, about the theming. It's different, and nothing does scream Polynesian. However, I felt relaxed in my room. And that's, I think, what I look for most in a hotel room. And so in the normal standard rooms, I think I'm going to give it a hit.
These
me.
standard rooms, these are also not the largest ones on property, especially, I forget the exact numbers. I want to say Portofino's around like 375 square feet. Hard Rock's around like 350. These ones are 335 square feet in the actual room itself. So not tiny, not huge. I think one of you said it. The amenities are in there. It has everything you need. It has the Keurig, as you saw in the video. It has the iron. You have a nice flat screen TV with Universal's kind of loop channel that they play on all the time. That you can watch. Depending on what view you have, you could have a great look out the window. But I consider these rooms actually a hit. And that is because these rooms, they just... I don't want to say they're perfect, but there's one thing in particular that I do consider bad about this room, and that is the giant flowers that go up the side of the wall. I think we all kind of agreed on that. While that's the main source of color that's in this room, otherwise they're mostly gray, there is a good amount of color brought into the room based on this one thing going up. But it looks like it doesn't look like it was integrated into the room. It looks like it was just slapped on the wall, like it was a big sticker put on, and that's sloppy. However, I enjoy these boutique style hotels that are trying to make it more relaxing, modern, comfortable. That's just how I am. Whenever we go out and buy bedding and stuff, I look for grays and then look for ways to have accent colors to kind of bring it in and make it a relaxing vibe. So that's why these rooms speak well to me. I stayed in the old design last year, and while the room did have that Southeast Asian Pacific feel that these ones don't have as much, they were almost too much. Like, I didn't need a bamboo dresser while I'm in there. That's just the set piece. I didn't need just constant wood all around. It starts to get too much for me. I think they almost overdo it. I like there to be an actual balance. So I thought this just had the nice little touches around a picture here, something there, all over. I will say the cleanliness. Pete also mentioned that the other time we talked about it. There was room for improvement in terms of the cleanliness inside the rooms. Just something that a bottle of Pledge or Windex could really fix and go a long way. But the beds were all clean, comfortable. That I stayed in this room. It was just more like end tables, end tables and desks and stuff. They had the drink rings on them. They were a little bit dusty, like no one's probably stayed in the rooms, and at that point they probably hadn't stayed since spring break really finished up. They weren't getting used that much, so there was a couple things that could have changed, but overall for me, these were a hit. And I guess we can kind of just lump the king room in as well, because it was just kind of a bigger version with a sitting area in there. And I will also put that in as a hit. I enjoyed that one as well. Would you agree?
I agree with you. Yeah.
Oliver, you still feel the same?
Exactly the same, yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and show what the king room looked like, just so everyone knows, and then we'll move on to our last room style.
Okay. Okay, Rhino, what's so funny?
You held that shot of the one where the ear cleaner or whatever go for a couple seconds longer than I expected.
Wait, I thought something was going to pop out.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it. It didn't have it.
Who'd you get for the hand model?
Wait there. See if you recognize these.
Oh.
No? Okay.
It's actually originally why you were hired, I think, the hand model job.
Well, Rhino, you said during the break there that you actually do prefer these rooms compared to the last ones.
Yeah. Sorry.
And I have to agree too. Seeing it back again in video.
Yeah. Watching that one, I was like, no. Because I didn't realize that I had seen the old rooms because I did the video for this hotel last year. And when we did it last year, we were each staying in a different hotel. So I didn't stay in this hotel. I didn't spend much time here. But then I remembered, it was all yellow. And the window thing, I know we were talking about the grate that looked like it was the reeds. I guess, but I like this one. This one feels cleaner, soothing, and just more peaceful to me than the other one did. The other one to me felt, I don't know, the yellow was hurting me.
I completely agree, but let's talk about the big one, the one that matters the most, the Jurassic Park Kid Suite, and we'll start off by showing you just a little bit of a look at that room as well. Let's do it. What's going to come out of it?
That time I was worried it was going to be the egg from Jurassic World. Like the little claw was going to come out.
Push, little one. So, Rhino.
That's from Jurassic Park.
You spent... Oh, you said...
I said Jurassic World. The opening is the
bad.
little...
I really need to start listening to you.
It's okay.
I need
Why
to
start
listen.
now?
Yeah, you're right. So, Rhino, you spent the most time in this room.
I sure did.
First things first, did you sleep in the kids' beds or in the adult beds?
Look at that face.
I slept in both.
Okay.
Because I don't have a king size bed, so I could not pass that opportunity up. I did sleep in that Jurassic Park room though. What I did is I would shut all the lights off. I would leave the door open, and the backboard of the beds have those red lights in it that look like the emergency gates from the movie, and I would leave those on so that red glowing light was in there. So I basically set up a horror movie for myself to sleep in. So I kept those on the whole time.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So how were the beds? All over?
Comfortable. I liked them all. Every one of those beds I laid in. The kids' beds were very comfortable.
No, but
Please,
in general,
nobody take that sound bite out of the show.
Oh gosh. Oh jeez.
One time we didn't talk over each other.
So the bed in the king room, obviously that was the whole same in style, but the room had a little bit of different color scheme in there. So I actually preferred this room the best.
Oh yeah, this was
of
my
the three
favorite.
different styles. I really liked the orange flowers on the wall versus the purple.
Yeah,
and then it had the flame dancer. The fire dancer in the corner there.
That.
I liked the leather couch, and by that I mean there's leather straps on a cloth couch.
Yeah, which is weird because they're right in the corner too, where you would sit.
Yeah.
Where, like, let me sit and put my armrest up, and you're like, there's a leather strap running underneath me.
But
right now.
it's trying to like signify like old luggage. That's kind of the idea they're going for with it. So I understand it in that sense. How did you feel about the overall theming in the Jurassic Park portion?
Okay, I am a little split on that. So the Jurassic Park portion, I think they tried to understate it.
Yeah.
And it should have. I think that we need to start getting planners that are in our age group, or maybe just a few years older than us, that, you know, who these people are coming into that. Like the people who did Diagon Alley, you need to go overboard a little bit. And just because we're adults doesn't mean that we don't want a little bit of that theming too. So it was kind of like that theming started right at that kid's door and was only in that room. So it was like very, you know, distinctly two different places, where I would have liked if maybe they had put like a little T-Rex figure out, like on one of the shelves out there, or even in the kids' room they had Steven Spielberg, a framed shot of like Steven Spielberg shooting from a ladder, The Lost World, and then they had on the other side of the TV was another frame photo, and it was like the guy who was standing in the legs of the raptor. And I actually wish those two photos had been in the adult side of the room. Like the adult side should have been like the movie making, and then the kids' room should have been the movie. You know, I wish they had done that a little bit.
One thing to say about these rooms, they actually do not have a second bathroom in the kids' room. That is solely only in the adults, the king size bedroom that's in there. So keep that in mind, that your kids will not have their own bathroom. They will have to share the one in your room.
Waking up to go to the bathroom at night.
Yes. So just keep that in mind. So overall, would you consider this room a hit or a miss?
This is tough. Because like what you said, it is my favorite room of all the rooms, and I would definitely stay there again. But if you are somebody who is like, I love Jurassic Park, I love bread, I love Jurassic Park, I think that you'll go and think this is a miss.
But adults aren't the ones booking. This is for your kid. Would you?
Adults aren't the one booking?
They're the one booking. They're not the one booking it for them. They're not saying, "Oh, I have to stay in this room." If 8-year-old Rhino was getting to stay in this room back then, would you?
My niece and nephew were coming right now, or my two nephews and my niece, and I was like, "Oh, it's time! I'm going to bring them to the Jurassic Park suite because it's one of my favorite movies, and I'm going to scare the bejesus out of them." I think had I gotten here and been like, "Oh, I'm super excited," they sold me on the Jurassic Park suite, I would have been disappointed.
Okay.
However, with that said, all three of them are wimps, and I think had the theming been any more intense, maybe they wouldn't have slept in that room. So you know what? I will actually give it a hit for that purpose alone.
Ollie?
I think they should just update it to include some of the newer stuff though too.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Ollie?
So, I thought this was okay. Let me tell you my thoughts first. When you book a themed room, I expect to walk in the door and be completely immersed in it, and I wasn't getting any of that here. The only things that actually had anything directly to do with Jurassic Park on them were the backboards of the bed, and the sticker on the door. Apart from that, everything else was very generic. So they tried to get like these file cabinets as the
metal filing cabinets,
to try and fit it in
like
with the
school
theme.
lockers,
exactly, just like that. And they just painted them the Jurassic Park colors. It was like a red and whatnot. And they had some generic like dinosaur wallpaper for the background. And that was it, because you can completely dismiss the photos on the wall because kids aren't going to like that. Kids don't care about Steven Spielberg. Like, we loved it, but that's because of what we do, you know? It was a complete miss for me. When you book a themed room, I wanted to... Honestly, my expectations were I was going to open that door and the music was going to play. That dinosaur with the bits that come out was going to spit at me, and it was going to be amazing. That's the one. And I didn't get any of that. I didn't even get half of that. I got some... terrible attempt at a Jurassic Park themed room, but that's just my opinion.
But what I think we got was how Craig was describing it is, if 8-year-old Rhino, well, I was 8 years old the year this movie came out. That's disgusting. 8-year-old Rhino, if my mother in 1993, if we went and stayed in this room, would have been thrilled. However, I'm the parent age now, and I expect now that nerd geek culture is king.
Yeah.
And so we want more, like, you want that immersive experience. So I think that these need to evolve into that level.
Yeah. This one, I am on a 50-50 mix, kind of like y'all are in a way. While I think there's nothing wrong with the theming, I think this is perfect. I would have loved to stay in this room whenever I was a kid. That's flat out the truth. You don't need to have all of that stuff whenever you're a kid. You don't need that extra details and touches. You're a kid. You're impressed by this kind of stuff. And I love the movie. I would have loved to stay in this room. As an adult, I don't know if I would go out and book this room for my kids just because for the extra price, is it actually worth it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure with that. I couldn't say.
I would have appreciated a plate of lime jello at some point.
If there was, let's say I'm booking it for 6, 7, 8-year-old again, yes. 9 or 10, that's where it would start to get tough, because I think they would be starting to get to the age where, you know, they're decorating their own room at home, and they start to learn how some of this stuff is, and they could think they could do something better. So I'm split down the middle. I see, for kids that love Jurassic Park, this is a hit.
Yeah. I'll give you an example of what you just said too. So for my friend's 30th birthday party, I threw him a surprise Jurassic Park party, and I turned my entire house into themes and references and everything from the movie, all made out of like cardboard boxes and all this stuff, because this is before I worked here. And I think that the theming I did in my house with the cardboard boxes and paint and construction paper I did was more in line with what I would have wanted from a room.
Yeah.
And so what Oliver was saying, it felt like someone's kind of half attempt. Or how'd you say it was? Generic. A generic attempt at it. Whereas I am a fan, and I made this stuff more so than that. So Universal, if you're looking to somebody to redo the rooms, let me know. I'll help you out.
Yeah, I can't even give a straight one. It's, you know, because there's two sides to it. Kids will appreciate it, but I don't know if adults do.
If you're the adult looking for the Jurassic Park experience, like, you're not going to get it at any hotel. You're not going to get it. Yeah, so it's kind of like the room was a hit because I enjoyed the room itself and the one main room, you know.
So instead of going back and forth on that one, let's just move on to the pool itself. So they have a rather large pool, 0 entry. No one's allowed in.
No one can get in.
No one's allowed into the pool itself. This, I'm going to start off this one. The whole pool area, not the lagoon area with the boat launch and everything, but the pool area itself. Before I said, okay, I can see how it is easy to consider this a hit. There's some theming to it. I love the lush landscape all around it. There's a decent amount of chairs and stuff to sit on in here. But actually, this time around, for the amount of time that I got to spend around the pool, which was a good amount, a couple hours here and there, and I dislike this pool. It was so loud and noisy, and I know that's great for some people. A lot of people out there, they want their kids to be able to go and run around and have fun. And one day, whenever I have kids, and I'm sure I'll take them over there, I will want them to do the same. But I like a pool where I feel like I can relax. And this time around, I just did not get this vibe.
This is the only pool, right? Is that what you said? Yeah. So there's no like quiet pool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oliver and I had drinks at the pool at night, one night, and like I enjoyed that. And we ran into some listeners and stuff, and with a friend of mine, and
I think when we went down to the pool, it was a lot quieter at night. So I completely get what Craig's saying, but I had a different experience there because we went later on in the evening.
Yeah, I don't know that I went during the day.
I can't remember going during, apart from to get the footage. I can't remember going during.
I remember
we
met
also
to like sit at a table.
Yeah, we sat at the pool bar for a while.
We ate there too, didn't we? We got nachos before dinner one night.
Yeah.
But again, that's like off to the side, so I don't know. It didn't have a big impression on me. That's all I'll say.
I didn't hate the pool. It doesn't really touch too much on the theming. They've got like a ship thing over at the back for the kids' play area, which kind of, I suppose, fits into it. But it's not a bad. I don't really have an opinion. Yeah. It's not a bad pool. It's not a great pool. The only thing I would say is comparing it to the other 3 resorts on property, this is the only pool that doesn't have a slide. So if that is something that's important to you, it's good to know that. And already being able to look and watch the construction as it's been happening with Sapphire Falls, seeing their pool develop, I can already say that this pool will also remain below theirs, because theirs looks pretty cool from how I've been watching it progress and build up. Cabana Bay is still the best. I think Portofino actually is second there for me.
Because they have the big private pool.
They have the private pool. They have the sandy pool.
Yeah.
They actually have 3 in total.
And then the other quiet pool.
They do, yeah. That's the one they use for celebrities, by the way, in case you're wondering.
I don't even know if I've seen the third one.
Yeah, so I think the pool is a solid miss, and I will proudly say that.
No, you're spot on, because when you compare it to everything else on property, it's actually the worst one they've got. So.
Well, especially like in staying in theme, like the you said, Cabana Bay has got this beautiful 50s style with the diving board and everything like that. Hard Rock has the live music with the bar that's like right up against, like almost in the water with the huge water slide, and then Portofino is super nice in the gardens with the bocce area and everything, and then this one's just kind of like we built a pool and it's got kind of a thing.
And I'll actually go in here next and throw on recreation as well too. I feel like this recreation is also a miss. You have the arcade, which
an arcade is an arcade.
That's always a miss for me. Back in the day, whenever I was growing up, I did enjoy that. That was something that my dad and I would always do whenever we were at hotels. If they had one, we would do it. But I feel like video games have advanced to the point that whenever I'm at home, I'm having fun playing them. That whenever I finally go on vacation, something like that, I just don't get it.
I'm in the arcade for the tickets. I'm all about the prizes.
You love free crap. Mm-hmm. Well, crap you end up paying more money for. Mm-hmm. That feels free eventually. They also have in the pool area, they have like some ping pong tables that aren't level. You're lucky if you find one paddle that isn't completely broken, and dented ping pong balls that go along with that. There's a random volleyball court out on the beach, the lagoon area that
feels unsafe a little bit, to be honest, because it's right up against that water part. And you're like, maybe they should start building fences here too.
And it's just with that, it's like, when I've never seen a random beach ball out there. Who do you get this beach ball from? Is it just there for looks? So overall, for me, there's nothing to do. Whereas Portofino, you have the bocce. At Cabana Bay, you have the pool tables. You do have ping pong tables there. They keep them in better condition. They have like ring games and stuff like that. I think they just really lack in that recreation experience. So miss for me.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, agree.
I've never seen anyone even using a lot of the stuff. So because it's either damaged or like
I've never seen somebody on the volleyball court.
Yeah,
for sure.
never. What you were saying there about the fences, they have put signs up there now, just so you know.
Ah, okay. Good to know.
Good to know.
So, winding down here. So we're going to just briefly touch on dining. Our big dining episode is next week. It is coming. That's where we're going to go in depth with all of the food that we had at each of the restaurants. Really sink our teeth into it, pun intended. But the restaurants that you have on property, you have Emerald's Chop Chop. Technically the signature dining option there. You have Jake's American Bar. You have Island's Dining Room.
Oh, God.
And then
molested by a character in there.
and then there's room service, and then you have the lobby bars, which they do breakfast in the morning, continental style breakfast, and then they have the sushi bar that converts into it at night. So those, and then you have the Bula pool bar. So that is also there as well for your eating needs if you so choose to do so.
And the luau, right? Did you say luau?
Oh, the luau. Sorry, yeah. Then the Wantalan luau.
Ken Watanabe luau.
So I know this is one's kind of hard, and we will go into detail on this, but dining as a whole here, hit or miss. Oliver.
Oh, okay. Mixed. It's very mixed because I either found I had a great experience or a terrible experience. And again, not to go into specifics because that's for next week. There are some things that I would recommend to people. There are others that are very average, and there are other things that I would tell you to steer clear of for many reasons other than just the food is poor.
Yeah.
So that's what I've got to say on dining without giving too much away.
Okay. Rhino?
Yeah, I would say the same thing. It was kind of no middle ground. It was all, there were two things that we ate at that I specifically was like, I'm never going to do either of these two things again. And then the rest I would eat at again. And it was, so the rest I think were decent and I had good experiences at them.
Yeah.
So, but it's kind of on that fine line where I don't want to rave about it because two of the things that are fairly signature are terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if it was just the time period that we were there, the times we were choosing to eat at these places. Overall, if I really break down how I felt about the stuff we ate at the restaurants, while I do think there was high moments in some of them, even the places that we found to be flat out bad, I thought there was things like, well, yeah, if I did come back here, I could eat that again. That wouldn't be an issue. I think I have to change dining as a whole here to a miss, which is kind of shocking. As time has gone on, I've just thought more about it, and some of the stuff that I enjoyed, while it wasn't bad, it's just like, is the money ratio worth it? Well, I want to come back here.
To be a hit, it has to be a place where I've walked away and I've thought to myself, I'll look forward to eating there again in the future. And I don't know that anywhere we ate here was somewhere that necessarily pulled me in that sense where I was like, I've got to go back and get this thing.
Yeah, there's only one place here where I have to say I have to go back. And the spoiler on that is it's not necessarily to go back there because I want to do that again and I want to have that meal, but because sometimes they offer special events there. So
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Not a clue.
It's tough, but we'll get all into that. We'll break down each restaurant and what we had there, why we came out here feeling the way we did next week. So you'll want to tune into that. So we are going to wrap this up with a location. I feel that with the exception of Hard Rock, this has the best location you actually can find on property. And I have to say for that, it is a complete hit. In fact, for a while there, I thought, even though I know it's so close to Islands, it's the closest hotel you can be at staying to Islands, very short walk. For some reason, as time goes on, I feel like it gets even shorter and shorter to actually travel there. I don't know why, but the first time I was there, it felt like, oh my gosh, this is kind of a walk compared to Hard Rock. And now it's like just a hop, skip, and a jump to get home. But I think you could not get better location than this, except for Hard Rock.
Yeah, I completely agree. You literally stole the words out of my mouth there. I was going to say the first time you do that walk, it's from the City Walk area to your hotel, it feels very long. But after you've done it the once, you realise just how short it is. And I think part of that is because they actually curve it around a pathway and they make it very scenic. So it gives you something to look at on the way there. But even with that, even with them not giving you the most direct route, it's still so fast. And it's, if you want to be in close proximity to the parks, especially Islands of Adventure, you can't get any closer. This is a fantastic option for you.
Yes. Rhino?
Yeah, I agree. You and I walked to the park several times through the walkway. I think you and I walked there too, Oliver, because that was when we did our Simpson thing. And I enjoyed the walk. It was very scenic. It was nice. You walk right by the water there. I don't know. You got the boats. I enjoyed it.
It was shaded too, so on the hotter days, you're not walking in like that direct sunlight, which is nice. So.
Yeah, so you can still, it's still like an option. It's not kind of like, oh well, you can walk, but you can't. You can walk. Yeah.
So final hit all around. So final overall thoughts on this resort. Give me a don't give me a hit or a miss on this one, because obviously it's got its mix in it of good and bad. Give me a number out of 5. How you feel about the overall resort in general?
3.8 out of 5. You said, right?
Yeah, out of 5.
If you'd said 10, I would have said 7.5. So that's like 3.8, right?
I'll give it to you.
3.5? I don't know. I don't want to say like I'll give it a 3, but I feel like 3 is like it's a place like I would never tell somebody not to stay there.
Yeah,
I think it's a good choice. I legitimately think it's just as good as a choice as any of the other ones. Like, we have our favorites, and this one's not my favorite one, but I think it's a worthy stay.
Ollie?
Very similar to Ryan. I was going to say out of 5, it would be a 3.5 because
I give it fractionally.
I know you did. I'm just harder to please. That's all. It's not the worst place to stay. It is my least favorite hotel they have on property, but it's still not a bad choice to stay in. And the thing I'd say is I think the price is definitely reflective of that. So it's all in all, you are getting what you pay for, I'd say. So a solid 3.5 from me.
Yeah, I mean, to give it a true number, you'd have to give the other ones also a number to go along with it as well. And we'll give them numbers whenever we stay there. But just doing the rough, obviously nothing's perfect. I could never give anything a 5 out of 5. It's just impossible.
Even your precious Cabana Bay?
Precious Cabana Bay. I still can't.
Goodness.
Spoiler. But whenever we get to back there, I don't know how the experience will change. I would probably give that about 4.5 out of 5. And that's the highest. That's still my favorite resort on property. We'll see once Sapphire opens up. But Cabana Bay is still the highest. I'd only give that a 4.5-ish out of 5. After this stay at this hotel, I do have to drop it down to say this one's a 3.
Yeah.
While I do enjoy the redesign of the rooms, and I think they hit well, and I think the service is great here, and I do enjoy the theming, the lack of, whenever we do something like this, we really don't leave the resort that much. We're stuck there for the most part, an outing every once in a while, but the pool drove me nuts here. There's a lack of recreation, lack of things to do besides sitting around drinking for us, and the dining, thank goodness, if we weren't allowed to go off and eat at other places while we were there, I would have eventually got to the point of killing myself of starvation from the dining here, because it just, it had more miss moments than it really had for hits. Even whenever you're trying to see the silver lining as something's happening, eventually that silver lining goes away, and it reveals, like, looking back at that, the stomach pain I was in for 2 hours after was not worth it immediately. So, yeah, it's dropped.
Look forward to that dining episode.
Again,
next week, everybody.
I think the theming, service, and the rooms mixed in with the location, as well as the fact that you get that express pass in there and you have that boat transportation right outside, I think those are the reasons to still stay there. If you have kids, this perfect perfect place to stay, perfectly acceptable in terms of if you're going into the busy time of year. If this was June and I had the choice between July, and I had the choice between Cabana Bay or Royal Pacific for very similar prices, and I was coming from out of town, I'd take Royal Pacific because of the express pass and the other amenities included. Whereas if I was coming during a slow time of year, September, that's where I'd say, screw it, I don't need express pass. Let me just enjoy the hotel I'm staying at, and then I would do Cabana for that. So that's where I fall at it for me. I'm at a 3 there.
But remember, with that dining option, you can just walk into City Walk and eat too. So that's the trade-off right there.
Exactly.
Whereas you can't do that at the other one.
Yeah. No, and I think a 3 is a very respectable number still. Because if we're going to start going into the Disney comparison numbers, like all the All-Stars would be a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 out of 5.
Whoa.
So those hotels are just, I've stayed at them. It's like the Return to Garbage Island or something. I dislike them.
I wonder what the original Garbage Island was like.
I think 3 is a solid number, something to definitely take good consideration into. If it was like a 2 and under, that's where you start to get worried, and I do think there's a lot that are 2s out there. So that is my last thought on it. Do we have anything else to mention?
No, I think we said a lot.
Good. Yeah. No, I know this one's been kind of I don't want to say overly long, but definitely full of information. Next week's will probably just be as packed in, but it's very important. We want to be able to help you make your best decision on where to stay whenever you are coming to Universal. So, take in mind everything that we said, but also realize only you know how you and your family decide to travel and what you look for in a place. So I hope we were able to at least show you and give you an idea of how we felt, so that way you might be able to help easily inform your decision on what to do. But no, thank you everyone out there. I hope you got a lot from this. I know we did. Thank you guys for participating in this fun conversation. Remember, you can find our show notes over at disunplug.com. That is, just look for the blue Universal box, and that's where you'll find everything that we talked about on this episode and any others, as long as I feel like putting it in the show notes, of course. Sometimes I just decide you don't get to learn what we talked about, and that is my prerogative to do that. There you'll also find out about the other shows: Disney World Edition, Disneyland Edition, Pop. We'll have a Secret Life of Pets review, Universal, coming up this weekend. So
going to see it tonight.
So we'll have that coming up for you, as well as so much more in the future, of course. And just make sure you're following us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, that stuff, YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed, iTunes, subscribe. Leave us feedback on all of it. We love it. Thank you again. And we will be back with you next week for another episode of the Diz Unplugged Universal Edition. But until then, remember, resolutions.
Resolutions.
Oh, no.
Shoot.